Uh, Thank you, Dr. Aman Sharma and Dr. Mahendranath. We now move on to the next session, the IRA oration. I invite the chairpersons, Dr. B.G. Dharmanand, consultant rheumatologist, Bangalore, and Professor Aman Sharma from PGI Chandigarh to chair the next session.
Good afternoon. Now we move on to the next oration, which is a prestigious IRA oration. On behalf of my president and my co-chair, Dr. Dharmanand, it is my proud privilege to call on the stage the awardee of the IRA oration this year. This is Dr. Bidyut Das. I would request the president to do the ceremonies, the medal and the certificate.
Good afternoon, esteemed President of the IRA, Dr. Dharmanand, Secretary of the IRA, Professor Sharma, my teachers, Professor Malviya, I can see. He has not taught me directly, but I consider him to be the Dronacharya. And I've always stayed at a distance looking at him like an Ekalabya. He has always been an inspiration. All my seniors, teachers, colleagues, and students. Extremely grateful, express my gratitude to the IRA Credential Committee for selecting me for this award. It's a great honor, a great privilege to be standing on the podium to deliver this lecture. And I feel excited. At the same time, I also feel a little nervous because so many illustrious people have presented this before me, and I'm not sure I'll be up to that mark. I have selected a very weird topic. I call myself an accidental rheumatologist because all along I've been a hardcore internal medicine guy for a long year, and everything happened by accident, never by design. The word accident, if all of you are following the political history of this country, you know what accident it is all about, which I'm alluding to. At the same time, I consider myself to be an outlier, and you have been reading the novelist Malcolm Gladwell, the American writer, you will understand what an outlier means as well. So it has all been a chance, and I find myself here after many things that has happened. I must introduce myself as a guy from Odisha. I had been promoted as the best kept secret of India. The tremendous amount of potential there, but not many people know about it. It has great history, great tradition, great culture, exquisite beauty. But the flip side, 80% of the people stay in the villages. And you see 22% are tribals. And the problem is poverty, and the problem is illiteracy. And you can imagine what kind of access they must be having to quality medicine and quality treatment. As a professor in a state-funded medical college, the premier one in the state, we deal with these patients day in and day out. So it's a great, great pleasure to treat these patients because they are innocent and they are the people who should be guided. I call it a serendipitous journey. Everything, as I told you, has happened by accident, I was never designed to become a rheumatologist. And the first thing that happened was the getting of the P.N. Berry Fellowship in 1996. It was again by chance that I got this fellowship from UK. I was shortlisted and invited to Delhi to face an interview comprising of extremely important and prominent people of the country. And I had no idea what it was all about. The day before the actual interview, they meet the candidates who have been shortlisted. I walked in to the India Habitat Center where they were meeting, and they were meeting us and finding out where we came from. And the chairman called up, he said, "Dr. Das, where are you from?" I said, "Sir, I'm from Odisha, from SCB." "Oh, you're from Odisha. This fellowship is extremely unfair to people who come from small places." That was the first thing that hit me, because I saw around, there were only 16 people shortlisted, and 15 of them were from institutes, big institutes of the country, and I was the only outlier from a state-funded small place called Odisha. But he patted me on the back. He said, don't worry, you made it this far, it's great. Out of thousands of candidates, you're one of them. You have done a great job." I was happy that I made it. I'm sure I was not getting it. Next day I appeared in the interview, went on for an hour, and then suddenly they said, in case, there were only 2 selections to be made, in case you are selected, you want to go to AIMS or somewhere else? I said, "Sir, in case I'm selected, I'll go to SGPGI." Why SGPGI? "Sir, I come from a village, Cuttack is a village, and I have another village mate there. I know him, so I'm comfortable there." Okay, all the best. I left, packed up, I knew nothing was going to happen, and 2 days later, I received a letter, "You have been selected for training in India," along with Dr. Rakesh Agarwal, who was selected for UK, the current director of Puducherry. And that is how my P.N. Berry Fellowship and my introduction to rheumatology started. And so I went to SGPGI on a short-term training, and that is how I got into rheumatology. Not by chance, not by choice, but by chance. And of course, I met my friend Darshan Singh Bhakuni, who was there. He was from the army, and both of us were feeling like a fish out of water. We came from 2 different places. In 1996, SGPGI looked black and white to me. Now it's multicolored. 2 persons had great influence on me at that point of time. Professor Amita Agarwal, who continues to be my close friend, and of course, my man from my village, Professor Ramnath Mishra. Both of them did my hand holding, because we are never taught immunology, rheumatology, both in MD and any of these college courses in the country. And that is how they took me around Alice in the Wonderland and a completely new subject called rheumatology. And I was fascinated, completely fascinated, that I'm really learning something extremely new. And I knew that I was making mistakes when I was treating patients as a confirmed senior faculty at the Department of Medicine at SCB Medical College. I will express my emotion in a very graphic form. I thought that'll be easier to tell. Words do not express what I feel. I came back in 1996 from SGPGI with high hopes of doing something for the state of Odisha, but with, of course, very rudimentary knowledge. And I found, of course, it was a wilderness in the understanding of rheumatology. Not just in Odisha, I think it is true for most of the states at that point of time. The moment I started speaking in the Department of Medicine that I would like to start an OPD, I faced a hostile crowd. I was a complete outsider. Nothing doing. You can't do it. It's not possible. And I remembered, I love this man, Walter Disney. I just sat back and said, if you can dream, you can do it. Let me try. There's no harm in trying something new. And that is where I started. I said, let anything happen. I'm going to set up the immunology setup. 96 to 2002, I kept on fighting with the powers that be, the great people, all the establishment to start rheumatology. And in 2002, a small sapling grew. The government acceded to my request to start a special OPD. And that is how the special OPD for 2 days started. And that is how I started my work. I was excited because I saw a sapling at least in hostile territory. I tried to grow it, numbers increased, and I applied for a unit. I said, I want a unit in the Department of Medicine, and the government again acceded because I was doing good work, and I got the unit of clinical immunology rheumatology under the Department of Medicine in 2006. And then efforts galore were made to destroy the nascent units. There were many people who wanted to stop it, and I persisted. But attacks came from multiple fronts, and it made my resolve stronger. I decided no matter what happens, I'll stick to it. Either I leave the college or I stick to rheumatology. Finally, with all the fight, in 2011, government created the Department of Rheumatology at SCB Medical College, Cuttack. And that I succeeded in establishing what I thought was impossible at one point of time. Support arrived. Between 2015-17, I was given an SR. I was given 2 or 3 PG students because I was still the professor of medicine. And then it looked much bigger, much sturdier, the department. And then it became independent around 2018 after a struggle of 22 years. I never gave up. And I had multiple people coming up now. I realized that success has many friends and failure is an orphan. I knew that, but I never gave up. Then what happened? 22, postdoctoral DRB, I started that in 2022, and I got students. Amita was there to inspect whether I was good enough because I had come away from SGPGI with a short course. We were approved, and now we have 2 students. And now I have put the platform, the drill, and everything. Nobody can disturb. And this is a college, this SCB Medical College in Orissa has the department which is going to remain for generations, for students as well as for patients to come. This, I feel, is my biggest satisfaction in life, the biggest, something that I've done for society. We have this department inside the territory where I fought. I carved it out, and I found out this is only the 6th college out of 322 state-funded medical colleges. There are 612 medical colleges, of which 322 are state-funded. And this is only the 6th college which has a department of immunology. We have extremely bright people who have joined me subsequently, and that is how I started. Starting a department took away 22 years. Meanwhile, I was seeing patients, I was doing lots of things, and I wanted to realize what was the impact of this movement. I called it not rheumatology awareness, I called it a movement. I wanted that rheumatology should penetrate every nook and corner of the country. Hordes of patients, unbelievable hordes of patients. And I was single-handedly managing them. Hordes and hordes of patients came, day in and day out. And the bottom line is, when it got very difficult to get a ticket, they used to come and sleep in the night before my OPD to get a ticket. That was the confidence and love that I had generated among the patients. And I believe 50% of your treatment is the trust that patients have on you. That is the most important. Not biologics, not your tofacitinib, JAK inhibitors, no matter what you give. If the patient doesn't trust you, he'll never get well. They slept, and I was told by the minister, there's a flourishing black market in your ticket in the department. I said, sir, I know about the films, the first shows where we make black, we go in black to see the movie, but I never knew about a government medical college having a a black market for OPD tickets. He said, yes, if you weigh within 100 you want a ticket, 750 rupees. Within 200 it is 500 rupees. So the people had created a slab. That hurt me. I realized people were making money in my name because I'm the only guy, the only clinician in the state who doesn't do private practice. And that hurt me, that people were making money in my name. And they were sitting till 10 o'clock in the night, not leaving. I never leave a patient till the end of the last patient who is disposed. I never leave them. And I also made a policy, no matter how big or small, everybody must come in line. No matter it's a minister, a judge, whoever, I said, sorry, this is the policy I follow. You come or you don't come. People trusted me. I earned the trust of the people. I was awarded the Odisha Icon Award by the Times of India in 2011. And the people voted for me, and I got the Odisha Citizens Award in 2012. This was a great boost for me. I saw a lot of patients were coming, dropping out, because you know these are chronic disorders. They have to come frequently, monitored. But as doctors, do we truly understand the health needs and problems of the poor and underprivileged? And I've been brought up in a place like that where I only see people who are poor and underprivileged. And that is when I decided that I need to do something more. We did a small study. We looked at the care-seeking pathway, care challenges, coping experiences of rural women living with rheumatoid arthritis. Because you know, most people stay in the rural areas. Women are the primary targets of the disease, rheumatoid, and they don't come at all. And we found that either they didn't know that there was something called rheumatology, something you have to go to a doctor, and they didn't have money to come, they never wanted to come, and they fell at the lap of the quacks, flourishing quacks. So we realized, what does poor people do when faced with catastrophic health expenditure? The biggest cause for penury in this country is health expenditure from the pocket. The biggest. They forego treatment, they don't come, hope for the best, that some miracle will occur, borrow heavily from lenders, sell whatever assets they have, and they're pushed into deep poverty. Then again we did another study, and we found they were taking all kinds of products, alternative medicine in the form of animals, animal products, mongoose, rats, snakes, birds, name them. That's what they were taking. And that was again extremely sad fact, awareness that we're actually dealing with people who are poor and were unable to afford good quality medicine. I love this man. And I think all of you love, because you're carrying an Apple phone all the time. One of his words, he said, we are here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why else even be here? What's the point of staying if you can't do anything for the betterment of society, for the betterment of people? Of course, he did it in another way. And I realized that he was in India for a year. He went to ISKCON temple, and surely he picked up a lot of tenets of Hinduism. Greater good for greater people. That's what Bhagavad Gita states. I decided to start tele-rheumatology service, care for the poor at the doorsteps. This is the second step that I took to deliver quality medicine, quality care to the patients in the villages. We had a beautiful telemedicine resource center built by the government, but it was just lying defunct, nobody was using it. I took over, I became the nodal officer, and there were 30 different connections to all the 30 districts. Either it was supplied by the ISRO, or we are connected by BSNL. In fact, the first telemedicine connection was with SGPGI. I spent about 8 or 9 years presenting cases, discussing cases with SGPGI from 2002 to 2010, and then I took over and started using this platform to treat patients in the villages. First thing I did, I trained doctors. I did telemedicine CMEs. There were over 124 doctors in the different district headquarters hospital. They were excited because somebody was telling them something new. Approach to arthritis, simple things I told them. I told them to refer if you have these problems. And what has happened in between 2015 to 2022, we have done 22,000 consultations and over 5,000 patients till October of 2022. Huge numbers, huge numbers. And they're distributed all across. And the most important are the tribal belts of Orissa, the western region, where people do not come because of lack of money. And you can see West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh nearby. Now we are getting patients from all the bordering districts, which has added to the load of our patients. As you can see, the total consultation is over 21,000, and about 5,000, they come regularly, and they say this is the best thing that has happened to them, that is telemedicine. I was very happy to see this is one of the centers, huge number of women, people who never come out, very rarely unless they're very sick. Men folk do not like to bring women, carry them, take them because they're chronic patients, they can't walk. Hordes and hordes of women came and took the help of telemedicine center. They took the help of our consultation, and we helped them. That was big gender change. We wanted women to be helped. That's how they came. Both during the COVID, we saw around 6,000 patients, and the Indian Express took out this article saying doctors bring relief to rheumatology patients amid COVID crisis. What kind of financial savings we did for the poor? 5 crore rupees in last 7 years. 5 crores to the patient. It's a staggering amount of money. We have saved a lot of them from being pushed into penury. I was awarded in 2019 by the government during the Republic Day for my services, for my policies. And 2022, the IT Media Group made me one of the top 20 inspirational personalities of Odisha. And I didn't know if I've done enough of that. The other thing is, I loved research. I used to see Amita, I used to see Dr. Mishra, high-profile people, and their research. I used to feel jealous. If I see thousands and thousands of patients, what kind of research can I do? I loved it. Right from my PG, I was trying to do something. Was I able to do any research, considering the load of my work? I did what was possible, based on my strength, of my exposure to different kinds of infection. Odisha is loaded with parasitic infections. And I took up unconventional stuff, unconventional concepts. There's no point in chasing what the Westerners have done. Let me do something which nobody has done. That's the only way you can make a mark. And what was my strength? 10 years chasing worms. I remember Rohini telling me after the Gujarat Kolkan oration that I gave, "Hey, Bidyut, you are a worm immunologist." I said, "Yeah, worms have given me great joy." Another 10 years looking at malaria, because I saw lots of patients of malaria, lots and lots. I was in the national drug policy, I was in the a lot of things I have done for the government of India. Then I thought, well, let me do something else. And I took over immunology. I did a PhD in immunology. That is where the immunology came in. And then, lo and behold, the accidental P.N. Berry, and then two great angels, Dr. Agarwal and Dr. Mishra, guided me the way. And that is how I am stuck to this. That is how rheumatology has developed with me. Another man I follow, nowhere near him, of course. He says, "I have no special talents. I'm just passionately curious." I wish everybody should think like that. For all youngsters, remember, research or anything starts with passionate curiosity. Unless you are curious, you can never do anything original. We know there's a triage in all autoimmune disease. We know genes are important. We have been dabbling in some unconventional mutation studies. Environment is primary, so I've stuck to environment. Infections, different kinds of infection, which causes epigenetic changes, immune dysregulation, and then the disease itself. Based on our observations of patients of different kinds who come from different corners, wherever there is prevalence of different parasitic diseases, I just formulated two important research questions. Are individuals for malarial endemic area more susceptible to develop SLE? We saw many SLE patients from malarial endemic area, and are individuals from filarial endemic area, which is the other side, the coastal belt of this state full of filariasis, protected against rheumatoid arthritis and SLE? These are two important questions we asked. The paper that we published in 2016 in Lupus Science and Medicine, we just looked at CR1, which is important both for malaria as well as for lupus. For malaria, CR1 helps in cytoadherence. That is the principal pathogenesis of severe malaria. It causes clogging of the blood vessels in the brain, and that is how it happens. And CR1, which is also expressed in the RBC, is very important for removal of immune complexes from the system. But evolution has a way of protecting you from acute problems. Malaria will kill you immediately. So it has done a mutation, never realizing that it could make you susceptible to lupus. That's exactly what we found out, that the variants associated with diminished expression of CR1, obviously the immune complexes are now being carried away, and there is increased susceptibility to development of SLE and nephritis. These were two important observations we made in malaria. And the other one, which we published in Nature Scientific Reports in subsequent years, TNF-alpha is an important molecule both for malaria as well as for lupus. More for malaria because we know TNF-alpha protects you or kills you if it's in excess, and TNF-alpha causes apoptosis, and that is how it is linked with SLE. And there's a promoter polymorphism, which mutation leads to increased levels of TNF-alpha, and that's what we found. If there's a mutation, increased TNF-alpha, lupus is very likely. These are the patients who have lupus. And simultaneously, if it is very high, you have severe malaria and it kills you. So there's an association which we found. And recently, we are working on the Fc gamma receptor, both in malaria as well as in lupus. So this is going to be published soon. Of course, coming back to my friend Rohini, worms really do good for you. Dr. Dharmanand has told you a lot of things about gut and alternative medicine. Remember, worms is an evolutionary viewpoint of its effect on the development, regulation, function of the immune system. The gut, the worms actually help you in building your immune system. They are called friendly worms. Co-evolution with environmental microbes, infection has generated a mammalian immune system which has optimized a symbiotic survival, of the bacteria, fungi, latent viruses, and parasites. Parasites are called microbiota, and parasites are important. That's the basis of what we call hygiene hypothesis, which I've been following for a long time. And it also helps in minimizing the pathological consequences for the host. We know the immunoregulatory effects of Helminths on the immune system. The Helminths and its products acts both on the innate and adaptive immune system. In the innate system, it causes tolerogenic dendritic cells, changes to MEM1 to M2 macrophages, and of course downregulates Th1, Th17, upregulates Th2 and the Treg cells. All of us know about Treg cells, as Professor Dharmanand was telling us. This is the basis of protecting us against different autoimmune diseases by upregulating Treg cells. The proof of concept came in 2012 by a gentleman who showed that the collagen-induced arthritis can be checked by injecting a product from the filarial worm. It's called excretory secretory 62 antigen. This molecule, if injected, caused dramatic drop, complete reversal of arthritis, dramatic drop in interferon gamma, TNF-alpha, and increased in levels of interleukin-10. And this was sustained over 60 days. The same group of people again came up, the same products, and targeted the myeloid differentiating factor MD10 in lupus mouse models, and they found that if you inject, you bring down proteinuria and nephritis. But it's not possible to take parasite products and give it because of several problems associated with giving it. They also came up with an analog. They have a drug analog of the parasite worm-derived immunomodulated products. They look alike, but they can be synthesized, and when they gave it, they found identical results of bringing down proteinuria and nephritis. For the first time in the world, I suppose, we made an observation and published in 2013. If you take patients from an endemic area, we found normal controls had very high levels of parasite positive, filarial positive. So basically we are telling that rheumatoid arthritis patients are free of filarial infection in an area where filariasis is endemic. That means we are presuming that filariasis is protecting you against autoimmune diseases based on whatever mechanistic ways I have showed you earlier. And the same thing we repeated with lupus, and we found a large number of lupus patients we took, close to 319, and we also took healthy controls. The healthy controls had close to 40% positivity. We have a special test to detect circulating fungal antigen called OG4C3, was a monoclonal antibody, highly sensitive. Even if you have one parasite, it can detect that. And it was negative in all lupus patients. We probed a little deeper, and then we took 4 groups of patients, rheumatoid, SLE, infected, and those were endemic normals, and we saw it was actually bringing down IL-17. We know IL-17 has a role to play in a lot of these autoimmune diseases. So IL-17A levels are suppressed by filarial worm. For my contribution to medical science, the Odisha Vigyan Academy awarded me with the prestigious Samant Chandrasekhar Award in 2018, which was given to me by the Chief Minister of Orissa. These 2 guys I've never forgotten. The youngsters must know them. If they have not, Dr. Varghese Kurian, the man who walked into the wilderness called Anand in Gujarat and transformed it, single-handedly transformed it into a center where India has become self-sufficient in milk production as an exporter. That's Amul, the Amul story. He just went by chance. He was thrown there. He went and he accepted the challenge and did it. And the other couple are the doctors, the Bhang couples. They went to Gadchiroli, Maharashtra, infested with Naxalites, worked there and changed the concept of community medicine, just sacrificed everything. First time they showed that you can bring down infant mortality by simple techniques. No big deal. And I'm sure, recently I think they got the Padma Shri. Amazing. Sacrifice is a principle. The desire to help society and passionately are 3 things that all of us must learn and follow. I've tried that, 3 P's in my life. Whatever I've done it passionately, persistently, despite opposition, and with lot of patience. How many times people have tried to trip me, pull me down, and I always remember the chairman's comment, "Guy, everything is unfair to people who come from small places." And I tell them now, everything is fair and great for people who come from small places because they have the determination and the persistence to do whatever they want to do. Again, Walter Disney, my favorite. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue it. I did it, not alone. The Lord was always by my side. I always believe whatever I've done, it has been the strength that I've got from the Lord and a team of dedicated people. My PhD guide, immunologist, Professor Ravindran from the Institute of Life Sciences, Dr. Tripathi, head of the immunology lab, Dr. Aditya, the guy who does all my genetics work, collaborator, and 3 young, bright rheumatologists, Dr. Somya, Dr. Manoj, and Dr. Sarit Patnaik. They are the bulk of my team. And they all came in 2018. Remember, I fought for 25 years to get whatever I have got. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Professor Das, for a wonderful oration. And you have really explained to the youngsters the travails and difficulties of an early rheumatologist in getting recognition both from the public, from the colleagues, and also from the authorities. And with your 3P strategies, you have persisted and won. And now Orissa is full of very talented rheumatologists. It's a rheumatology hub now. I'm proud of the lead you have taken in that state. And we all stand on the shoulders of the giants. So he's the giant from Orissa on his shoulders. The another generation of rheumatologists are standing. And he also told us how to do meaningful research in spite of running a very busy outpatient and inpatient services. And with these few words, thank you very much. There is no question during oration. Thank you very much, Professor Das, for this oration, beautiful oration.
Thank you. Now we break for lunch, and it's going to be a little short. We'll start the parallel sessions at 1:15 sharp. During the lunch time, poster viewing can be done. And two more announcements. Lunch will be in the basement in the exhibition area, and a specially designed batches for all has been prepared by the organizing committee and will be available after 2 p.m. at the registration counter. So we meet again at 1:15. Thank you.